It's a blessing and a terrific privilege to be able to gather in our city hall today and for the purpose that which we have come for. And I'm so thankful that we live in a nation where we can recognize a national day of prayer. That's exciting to me. When we look around the world, to have an event like this in this venue is something that doesn't happen in a lot of places. So we have gathered today in the National Day of Prayer, and we have a number of people represented here today, and we thank you for coming, and thank you for being here. In light of the events in the past week, if there's ever been a time that we have been reminded of the necessity of prayer, it has been in the last week. Many of our communities today, our neighboring communities, are hurting in ways that I almost feel ashamed in some ways, because we had the same situation in Albertville last year, and we didn't have a loss of life. And I'm in awe of the fact that God spared lives in our city when we look around us in the last week of so many places where there were so many who did perish. Our neighbors are hurting. Our friends are hurting. Lives have been messed up and destroyed. And so we have a great need of prayer today for those people who are hurting. James 5:16 said this, that the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man will avail much. There is much that is needed, but let us not be discouraged. Our God is able to do much. Our God is able to do much. There is yet to be one situation in your home, in your state, in your nation, or around the world that our God is not able to intervene and fix and change in the way that it needs to be. It's a council hall. But I believe today that we can make it a church hall should we need to, a place of worship, a place where we honor God, a place where we seek His face. When we talk about prayer, the greatest prayer that I think I ever read or knew about was the Lord's Prayer. Not the one that we commonly deem as the Lord's Prayer, but actually was the prayer that He prayed in John, the book of John, chapter 17. We're going to pray in just a minute. But as I look around, there's many people that I know and many that I don't know. We come from all areas, all different kinds of churches. We come from different backgrounds. I'm a transplant. I didn't grow up on Sand Mountain. I've been reminded of that a time or two when folks disagree with me. And I've learned that Sand Mountain is a wonderful place. In fact, I heard a story of a man who was traveling. He went to California and he saw a golden phone booth. It said a direct line to heaven, $5,000. He went up north, seen the same thing, a golden phone booth, and it said direct line to heaven. It cost us $5,000. He came to Sand Mountain and he saw a golden phone booth and it said, direct line to heaven, $25. He asked, he said, well, how come it's so much cheaper here? And he said, well, from Sand Mountain, it's a local call. So we've learned to embrace that mentality here. But through all different kinds of people. Some of us believe differently about different things. We come from all different walks of life. But I want you to know what Jesus prayed for us. If there's one thing that ought to happen in this room today, is that He ought to be exalted. And it ought to be about Him more than any of us. More than any difference. The one thing that unites us all is Jesus Christ. That's the one common denominator amongst all believers. We may sing different songs, we may worship in different ways, but if we recognize Christ, He is the uniter. And I want you to notice what He prayed. John 17:20, after He had prayed for His disciples, He said, neither pray I for these alone. In other words, He said, I'm not praying just for the disciples that are here. This was before His arrest and crucifixion. He said, I'm not just praying for those that are here. He said, neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word. He was also praying for everyone that would believe on Christ through the work of His disciples. That's you and that's I. Those who have believed upon Christ Through thousands of years, Jesus prayed for us. And here's what his prayer was. That they all may be one. As thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us. And here's the reason he prayed for that oneness. Here's what he asked for. And here was the reason. That the world may believe that thou hast sent me. The prayer of Christ for the church and for all those that believe was this, is that we may be one. And there was a reason that he wanted unity, so that the world may see and believe that his Father had sent him.